Hi guys, so I'm going to show you how to scribe some architrave when you've got a door frame tied up against the wall. It's something that I was quite eager to learn when I was starting out carpentry all them years ago. And you find it quite a lot in new builds and especially old houses where you've got a door lining right tied up against another wall. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that. So what I'm talking about is when we've got a door lining tied up against the wall like this one. Excuse the electrical cable, that's a mess, that's going to be sorted out. But anyway, carrying on with what we're doing. So this is what I've already done. And as you can see, it still motors in to the architrave to carry on around the door lining. So it continues to profile up and around. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that now. So this is the side that we're doing. So I've already put the first leg in. So what I've done, I've gone round marking the margin, which is the gap from the edge of the door lining, how far back the architrave set back. It used to be around about 7mm with the old style hinges, but with the hinges that we use nowadays, the ball bearings, you need a lot bigger margin. So we tend to go around about 10mm now. All the way around the door lining. So what you need to do is pre-miter everything. So as you can see, I'll show you where I put it now. Okay, so what you can see is this is going to be the head, and then obviously the two jambs. I've already pre-cut them to size, because what's really important when you're scribing the architrave is that you actually pre-miter the length that you're scribing. Because when you scribe the back of that, the wall 9 times out of 10 isn't even, so you won't get a straight cut on the back of the architrave. So when you're referencing off the back of the architrave, once it's cut, to get that miter on the top, it's near impossible to get it tight. So easiest way to do it is pre-miter it while it's still straight and uncut. So as you can see, I've tacked it on so far. So I've just temporarily tacked it on. So I've left the pins prior so I can pull them out. And I've also tacked it in a place what's likely to be cut off. So what we've done, we've put the skirting board, not skirting board, head somewhere else today. As you can see, we've put the architrave in, and you can tell just by the gap behind that it's not even. These linings weren't put in by myself. This was a previous contractor which we're rectifying some of the work, and this is one of them. So what they put in before, they put the top in, and then they're putting a scotia bead down this side. And obviously this is when we discovered that they run the electrical cable behind the architrave, which obviously we're trying to ignore that at the moment. That's down to be sorted by an electrician. So what I've gone and done, I've pinned it on, but I haven't just pinned it on in a random place. So what I've done, I've took measurements with the architrave tied up against, took measurements with the architrave butted tied up against the wall, and I've gone 3 measurements down, and I've took the longest measurement. So for example, up here it was registering about 30mm, but down here it was registering 35. So what I've done, I've split the difference, and I've gone, you want to go over, not under, so I've gone to 40. And as you see, it's 40. And this is, I'm taking this from the edge of the door, inside the door lining, to the edge of the architrave. So we've pinned that on all the way up. So we know now we've got a straight leg of a door lining to work from. That's our reference point. And then what we've done, we've set the edge of the architrave 40mm away, and then we've pinned it on. So we know we've got a measurement of 40mm. Now we've got a margin of 10mm, so what we need to do is allow for that with our scribe block. So what you do, you'd have your 40mm plus 10mm. if you know what I mean. So you've got 40mm plus 10mm. And I'll show you that if you're not understanding that from me explaining it. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so what I've got here is a block of wood. This is just an offcut of a door strip. And what I meant, let's go from the straight side. So this is the side I was cut already. So when I'm saying you need to allow for your door margin, so what we've done, we've set the architrave back from the edge of the door line to the front edge of the architrave. We've pulled that away 40mm away, and we've set that as our reference point. So we've got 40mm, which is there, but then we need to allow for the margin that we're going to set back on the door lining. Now that's 10mm, so 10mm add on 40mm brings it to 50. And that's the size of our block that we're going to cut, and that's what we're going to use to scribe. So that's our scribe block. So I'll show you what we do with that now. Okay, so we've got our scribe block, which is 50mm. That's what's going to run alongside the wall, and this is where our pencil will be. And what we're going to do, as we're scribing, we're going to hold our pencil quite tight to the actual edge of the block, and the block's got to be against the wall. And we're just going to drag that down, and what that will do will transfer the pattern of the wall onto the architrave. This is going to be the waste. This is what we want to keep. So I'll get that done now. So as you can see, I've got my line scribed on all the way up this architrave piece here. It's going to go against the wall. And as you can see, it runs out. That's why you can't ever do a straight cut on an architrave. It always runs out. So, I mean, it'd be great if that was the case. You could just whip it down. But 9 times out of 10, it has to be scribed, even with the best of plastering. So what I'm going to use to cut it down now, I use a jigsaw with a down cutting blade in it. You can do it by hand. I mean, MDF architrave is pretty easy to cut with a handsaw, but just for speed, because I've got quite a bit to do, I use a jigsaw. And what I'm going to do is, we don't hold the jigsaw straight, so what we want to do is we want to slightly angle the blade. And what that will do is it's called a back cut, and it will create, I'll show you, it will create a bit of an angle. So the cut itself will be something like that on the back. We only want the point of this edge showing. Now the reason why we do this is because the plaster might be a bit uneven, so we only scribe the front of where that piece of architrave is going to be sitting, but the plaster could actually run out like this. So what happens then, if you've done a straight cut down, it will push it away and it will open this gap up again. So we do a bit of a back cut, because we only want this point touching the wall, and this slight back cut will allow for any indiscrepancies in the plaster behind. So I'll do that now. Okay, so I've got that cut. So what we need to do now, as you'll find when we piece it all together, it's hard to do one-handed. So that's what we're looking for. Now, as you can see, the header piece is oversized. So what we need to do, we need to mark that. That'll be a straight cut, but we'll also put a back cut on that piece, just to ensure that we get a nice tight gap, like that, tight mitre. So there we go, as you can see, the camera will pick it up. There we go, so it's not straight as we cut it, it's slightly back cut, and that will allow for any indiscrepancies of like bulging plaster on. Yeah, there we go. It will allow for any bulge in the plaster that the block hasn't picked up. So what I tend to do now is I tend to glue it all up as a goalpost set, and then it will go in as one set. So I'll just make sure that the mortars don't move, and they're all nicely aligned before it even goes onto the door lining. So this stuff is mitre adhesive. Ever since they've changed, I used to use Unique one, but ever since they've changed it's absolutely awful. So this is the one, just an enhancing stuff from Screwfix. I find this works pretty well. So it's a two-part system, so you put your adhesive on the one mitre, and then this is an activating spray which will activate the glue. Because it's MDF, it will absorb a lot into the end, so you need to get quite a bit on. And then what we need to do is just hold for around about, it's normally around about 10 seconds. I normally hold it until the finger gets stuck. So, there we go, finger stuck. I'm forever picking it off. Then that's one done. There we go. And exactly the same process on this side, so bit of glue. And one thing with this stuff, don't ever get it on kitchen worktops or laminate floors. It's a pain to get off, and it will actually damage. It will damage the floor. Okay. Now, obviously, back in the day when we used to use pine, what you'd normally do is you'd put piece by piece around the door frame, you'd nail it on as you went, and to get the miters to match up without any lips, and once to make it all flush, you'd knock a little lost head nail in the side of the mitre. Everything's MDF nowadays, purely because it's easier to paint. Probably down to a cost thing as well, with it's a cheaper material. But obviously it takes paint very well as well. Not a lot of people like grains in wood now. And that's it, that's the goalpost method. So what we'll do, we'll flip the camera around and then I'll tack it on, and that's the job done. These screws out, so I tend to put these screws in just to hold the cable above the door. We don't need these, so I'll get them out of the way. Nice. So this is our set of architrave that we've just glued up. And normally we'd have to get over a wire, but in this instance we've had some cables in, so that's what we're having to do. So I'll always make sure at the bottom of the floor where you put your architrave on is clear of any debris. And then what we're going to do, we'll fix our architrave on with this second fix nail gun. I've had this one for a while, so the battery, it's a bit of a dodgy battery. I have to try and push it in and out to keep it on. If you don't have one of these, you can use lost head nails with a nail punch. It'll work exactly the same. And we don't put any adhesive on the architraves just in case ever need to align a door frame. The door frames do move over the years, so this MDF as well, bowed everywhere because it's been in storage for a while. So, you line it up with your margins. Normally I tend to do the header first. I'm just going to reel so good depth. See, so we want the nails to sink this time. We don't want them proud. There we go. And I'm just going to start this corner because this is the crucial corner. There we go. And what we'll do, push that into position. Line up with our margin. And what we'd actually do, we're fixing the door lining, not the actual wall itself. I find for a normal size door lining, it's usually okay. As you can see, got a nice scribe, and it's matching up with our margins that we've already drawn on with our combi square. Side. You'll be surprised how little pins you need. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got some 50mm pins in this at the minute, but you don't need that many. And there you go, all done. So that's all finished. And as you can see, that's our pencil mark for our margin. There's one. There's another one. So that's how you scribe architrave tight to a door lining.